Let's take a look at the global setup first. U.S. markets soaring high on the back of the Nvidia news. Nvidia plowing in $5 billion to buy stake in Intel. Let's take a look there. S&P 500, NASDAQ, Dow Jones, and a rare record where all three indices, in fact, were seeing those high levels yesterday overnight. And there you have some of the other tech action as well. Keep an eye on Apple, of course, with all the action in India today. Nvidia was the one in the news, of course, 3.5% higher in trade last night on Wall Street. Asia this morning also looking good. Japan's Nikkei in particular in focus. Remember, watching out for some amount of rate action coming in there today. They're counting in a cut. Now, the other big news that we're tracking today, and first let's actually pull up the Nifty, take a look at the pre-open setup and what it's indicating this morning, and then I'll get to some of the big news makers as well. But right now it's looking like just a flat start. Yes, there you have it, pretty flat at the moment. The big news we'll be tracking today, SEBI has given a clean chit to Adani Power Group companies after the Hindenburg allegations, of course, had created complete havoc on Dalal Street about 32 months ago. Hindenburg has dismissed charges of insider trading, market manipulation. Remember, Hindenburg alleged Adani entities flouted SEBI's norms. SEBI's now given a clean chit to Rajesh Adani, Gautam Adani, and 3 others. Now, allegations had been made against notices in SEN, and they've not been able to establish anything. So there's no violation of the SEBI Act, and that's really what's coming in over there. So clean chit coming in, no violation of SEBI Act provisions on fraudulent and unfair trade practices, no violations such as market manipulation, insider trading, or misstatements, no violation in substantial acquisition of securities or control inducing investors to buy or sell. All allegations made against notices in SCN have not been established. That's SEBI coming in on the Adani-Hindenburg case. And this is important because remember, SEBI giving a clean chit to the Adani Group counters on those Hindenburg allegations is important because it was something that really hit the stocks about 32 months ago and have dismissed charges of insider trading and market manipulation. Hindenburg, just to remind our viewers, had alleged Adani entities had flouted SEBI norms. They've now come out, SEBI has come out and given a clean chit to Rajesh Adani, Gautam Adani, and 3 others as well. I want to just take you through the market capitalization of the 10 listed Adani Group companies had actually plunged from about 19 lakh crore rupees, that's $227.8 billion, in January 2023. Now that's a day before the Hindenburg report, just one day before the Hindenburg report, to 12.24 lakh crores, and that's 144.9 billion by November 2023. That's the kind of impact the report had back in 23 when US courts filings on alleged bribery charges had emerged. It was an extremely tough year for the group. It actually eroded investor wealth and sentiment, and that's why we're looking at it so closely today, and we'll also discuss it with Mayuresh, who'll join us in just a moment. Now, since then, Adani Group stocks have gradually been recovering, though they remain still below pre-Hindenburg levels. Over the past 2 years now, returns across the group have actually been fairly mixed. We've seen Adani Ports, of course, top of the charts, and we'll discuss that because that one has seen about a plus 70%. And lots of brokerages also looking at Adani Ports very positively. Motilal Oswal, in fact, talking about a potential 29% upside, citing expansion into logistics, marine services as key growth drivers there. So Adani Ports has been looking good. And Adani Power, of course, has been looking good. That's also been up about 68%. So Adani Power, and you've got Morgan Stanley on Adani Power as one example of the kind of overweight call we've got coming in with an 818 rupee target. Again, talking about strong earnings growth outlook from timely project, new PPAs, and a rise in capacity and EBITDA forecast as well. But let's take a look at some of the other stocks in the group, and that's really where we're seeing underperformance at this point. Adani Green Energy, Adani Energy Solutions, Adani Total Gas, a whole host of these counters actually haven't managed to see too much, returns and have actually still been lagging behind those pre-Hindenburg levels. So let me bring in Mayuresh Joshi, who's joining us this morning. Mayuresh, keeping an eye on some of those Adani Group stocks on the back of the news that SEBI has dismissed dismiss those Hindenburg allegations. We remember the pain the group stocks went through back in 2023. Want to get your perspective, Mayuresh, for an investor to look at this holistically and understand also perhaps if they are looking to invest, where perhaps it is a better idea or a better investment opportunity, because clearly the returns have been mixed across the group.
Morning, Amar. No, absolutely, I think, and that's well put in terms of how the group performance has been. But largely, I think, attributing to the final order that's come through, I think the sentimental effect on stocks will obviously be seen in today's trade. However, from a medium to longer term perspective, I think most of the segments that Adani is present into, whether it's power through Adani Power or Adani Green Energy, as far as the renewables is concerned, or even in their cement foray through ACC and Ambuja, I think most of these stocks should probably see a positive impact from government policy in the first place. Renewables expected to expand to around 500 gigawatts. A large part of that going to be a mix of solar, wind, and hydroelectric, where Adani is going to play a major role. At the same time, when you're expecting urban, rural, affordable housing, infra growth, ports growth, then generally, I think capital expenditure happening from the center. I think cement stocks should come back in focus. So I think from a focus area perspective, and rating and rankings as we see it, outside Adani ports, I think Adani Power might be one stock to probably look at. ACC from the cement pack is something that can do well as well.
Great, Mayuresh. Thanks for putting that in perspective for us. We're also counting down to the opening bell, so I want to get your view on the markets as they stand. Nifty, it's been a fairly exciting week, of course, with new closing highs, and we've seen a lot of overnight action on Wall Street as well.
No, remain positive. I think the entire perspective, Abha, is whether earnings will recover. And in our own sense, earnings should show significant amount of recovery as we get into the second half, specifically Q3. And as that probably transitions in terms of better earnings growth for most sectors, specifically, I think the consumer-facing sectors, I think you're probably going to see significant amount of earnings revisions starting to take place. Earnings becomes the base factor, and therefore, as earnings improve, most of the other macro data points, including fiscal consolidation, which remains in place, corporate debt to GDP, I think very much in place. And that probably remains a triggers for the Indian ecosystem from a macro as well as a micro perspective. So I think maintain a positive stance.
All right.